It made me cry.
This one's wife. Gwyneth, don't give Meghan ideas. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. As I've explained in other videos, Gwyneth Paltrow is a narcissist, and therefore, like any other narcissist, she is driven by the pursuit of the prime aims. It is necessary for her to seek control, draw fuel. It is necessary for her to obtain character traits and residual benefits. And like many narcissists, Gwyneth Paltrow utilizes social media in the pursuit of the prime aims. And she just recently did so again. She posted to social media a short piece of footage which shows her in the kitchen. Let's have a look at the video before breaking it down further, and also the risk factor this raises in respect of this one's wife. I have removed the accompanying music to avoid any complications with YouTube concerning copyright. But for those of you interested, the accompanying music was Starfish and Coffee by Prince. Gwyneth decides to exhibit her culinary skills, making a white bean and sausage shakshuka, Tuscan style, by all accounts. And we see her showing us a view as she creates this boyfriend breakfast and talks about what you do with the beans, rinsing and soaking them. And then we see the soaked beans and the various ingredients that are utilized, the sausage meat and onions and the beans and spinach and eggs all thrown together. All looks pretty healthy. Looks fairly tasty as well, although you can't go wrong really, though, with a few rashers of bacon, black pudding, etc. if you're going to have a cooked breakfast. Not every day. You get fat, but once in a while. Anyway, Gwyneth naturally makes an appearance as we see her supping from a mug and being seen at the skillet. But, of course, what will have caught your eye is the opening shot, the opening provocation of a narcissist as she stands at the range, her back towards us, just wearing her bed shorts. She's naked from the waist upwards. Now, we all know that Gwyneth Paltrow has a good figure and she's looked after herself, but she wants you to recognise this with some provocation, and including this in the video is naturally done to ensure that there is a reaction. Unfortunately, you might also be reacting at the state of the splashboard next to her range, which needs a jolly good clean. Yes, I wasn't just noticing the fact of Gwyneth Paltrow's semi-naked form, but also the fact that it either is about to be cleaned and someone's been squirting on it, or somebody's squirting something unmentionable towards that splashboard. But either way, it needs some attention. So, Paltrow, if you're listening, sort it out. Now, once again, we have a narcissist that utilizes the whole lifestyle brand as a means of the pursuit of the prime aims. By having a lifestyle brand, it allows her to assert control over the audience. She draws fuel by way of their reactions. It manages a facade as a lifestyle guru, and it allows her the residual benefit of making a lot of money from it all. We also know that this one's wife has sought to emulate Gwyneth Paltrow and has so far unsurprisingly failed because of her seductive touch, whereby anything that this one's wife involves herself in fails because she's useless. She similarly likes to create this image of her cooking at home, even where she posts a picture of her stirring an empty bowl. She likes to put up video footage of her dancing weirdly in front of the oven and the hob. She emulates the whole vibe, if you will, that's created by Gwyneth Paltrow, who, whilst it's performative for her, also because she's a narcissist, it does at least look more natural when she's doing it compared to the awkward movements of this one's wife, which demonstrates the difference in their style of narcissism with regard to the way that they go about the pursuit of the prime aims. Rather troublesome, however, is the fact that whilst Gwyneth isn't too bad to look at as she stands there in just her shorts, the awful thing is this might just be giving some ideas to the Duchess of Industrial Beige. After all, we recently saw this one's wife engaging in her god-awful twerking, which she would have revelled in. She revelled in it because she would have regarded it as her being relatable and fun, which is what some people's responses were to the footage being posted. She will have ignored, dismissing them as haters and squares and racists, those that described it as awful and crude and unnecessary and vulgar. What will also have very much pleased this one's wife as a consequence of the twerking video, as I mentioned at the time, was the fact that she got lots of views, millions upon millions of views, which provides her with lots of fuel. The issue with this is that she will want more of the same, but the problem is, how is she going to go about doing it? This is why Piers Morgan made reference to the fact that it'll only be a couple of months before a sex tape pops out. And whilst he might have been saying it in jest, there would have also been an element of truth behind his observation, because when it comes to this one's wife, naturally as a narcissist she needs the fuel, and she needs to keep finding ways of getting it. This is a problem when you're not talented. You see, if you've got a talent, you can keep scoring goals, writing fantastic pop songs, writing interesting books, engaging in the creation of fantastic and entertaining films. You can come up with marvellous inventions. You can be witty. You can create your comedy routine. Whatever it might be that you're good at, you can keep doing that, and it will entertain people. For some, it might only be for a few years. For others, it might be decades long, their career, with relation to their particular talent. But the problem with this one's wife is she doesn't have any talent. Furthermore, she's unpopular and lacks charisma. Therefore, she can't even go down the route of, well, she's brilliant but unlikable, or she's not very good, but we all love her. Those options simply aren't available to her. Which means that she then, because of the need for the pursuit of the fuel, has to try and find different ways of basically hitting that high once again. She is like that proverbial drug addict, repeatedly chasing that exquisite first high. Having secured that outcome with the twerking, her narcissism will want her to emulate that in some way. And therefore, it wouldn't be a surprise, you know, if she were to go down the same route as Gwyneth, which is why I say to Paltrow, don't be giving this one's wife ideas, because could you imagine if we're treated to the image, and it's a possibility, as a grasping somatic narcissist, of this one's wife just stood in her shorts as she's making food? Ugh. At least Paltrow's got her hair tied back. Could you imagine that this one's wife with a SpongeBob SquarePants, there we are, got there eventually, with that body and the chicken legs on display in the kitchen, you'd want to yak up whatever she was going to make you for breakfast. But who knows? She sees something that Gwyneth Paltrow does, and remember, we saw that little collaboration between them before, which I've broken down and explained to you in parts passing. She will be keeping an eye on what other people in a similar area are doing. So, you heard it here first. There is the distinct possibility that you might well be put off your breakfast by a semi-naked appearance of this one's wife. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for watching.